From Central Indiana's #1 news source, this is Fox 59 Tonight.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Fox 59 Tonight. I'm Cameron Biddle. We appreciate you downloading our new smart TV app on your Roku, Fire TV, Samsung, and Apple TV. It's called Fox 59 now. Download it if you don't have it. If you're watching us on YouTube, just hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of the conversations that we get to have every night here at 8 o'clock. It is time to get into the holiday season because it is November. I've already started bumping some Christmas music, and we want to get you into the spirit with the Christmas one of the Christmas classics that you might know, but it's not in the way that you think, because there's the Nutcracker and then there's the Nutcracker Story, which you will see several young Indianapolis actors and actresses on the stage. They not only are performing, but they've helped write and produce this show. They spend a lot of time at a place called the Performing Arts Conservatory. If it's a place you haven't heard of, you're going to hear about it more. And if you do know what it is, then you know it's kind of, you think of it as an after-school enrichment Sunday kind of a thing. You're going to be hearing about it more either way. But we first want to invite you to learn about the Performing Arts Conservatory and the Nutcracker Story that you get to see coming up here in November. We'll do so by introducing you to Bridget Townsend from the Performing Arts Conservatory. Hi, Bridget.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
Absolutely glad you could come and talk with us at Fox 59 about all the fantastic things you guys are doing at the conservatory. Big show coming up on November 22nd at 2 o'clock.
That's right here in Indianapolis on the northeast side of town, 71st and Shadeland. We will be hosted by one of our partners, our community partners, Castleton United Methodist Church. So right there, huge congregational building. So there's enough room for everyone. So they don't have to worry if they won't be able to get a ticket or not. They can get that ticket and be there on Saturday, November 22nd at 2 o'clock. And come in and see these kids perform and do a great job at this performance they created.
The website, if people haven't heard or they want to know more, is tpacindy.org. We're showing it right there on the screen, the Performing Arts Conservatory. The show is just one piece of the conservatory. Tell us about it.
Well, it is a group of, I would say it started as a group of educators that came together saying, how can we make a difference and what can we do and what tools are in our hands that we can use? And all of us loving performing arts, we've all been doing this, Cameron, really forever. I mean, even when I was a youth, I'm thinking about my co-founder, who happens to be my husband, Dr. Townsend. We used to do this all the time, and we were always performing, always doing some kind of musical or singing, dance, whatever. And we found others that had a love for the performing arts as we do, as well as a love for education. And we found that this is a great way to meld this together, to work with kids, to really spark their interest, not only in the performing arts, but just in your love of education. How do I better myself? How do I strengthen who I am and to be the best person that I can be? So now that I think about it, this has been a lifelong mission. It's not just, we thought about this last year, so we put it together. No, we've been living this out really all of our lives. I think since we met when we were 8 years old, we've been doing this for that long.
Showing some of your staff here, and there's your husband and the rest of the team there at the conservatory. So right now, you guys are doing the Nutcracker Story. But what are you doing the rest of the year? Well, first, I guess, let me explain how the program works to where you're putting on a show in November, but then what you're doing the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's the rest of the year. We're always educating and working with our students to help develop that performing arts or that talent. In some cases, the kids come to us and the talent is very minimal. In some cases, the kids come to us and they have an extraordinary talent, but it just needs to be developed and cultivated. So throughout the week, either we're working on team building, or we're working on private lessons, or we're working with other individuals to go out and to help cultivate their teams. We actually go into some of the school systems now, and we've been working with some of the choirs like at Belzer Middle School or at Shortridge High School, just helping to prepare these kids so that they can get ready for different competitions and things like that, so that they bring their excellence, to whatever it is that they're doing. So yeah, you're right, Cameron. It's a Sunday enrichment program that meets from 3 to 5 every single Sunday. But there is always something else that is going on so that we can really cultivate what the next step and what the next, the next step in our vision happens to be. So, yeah, we're always quite busy.
So you guys are working year-round, right?
Mm-hmm. It's year-round.
So once the show happens on November 22nd, then what happens?
Then we start performing throughout our community. We'll be doing performances at Idle George. We'll be doing performances for the mayor of Lawrence as our Black History Month starts to take place, and Martin Luther King, the celebration for Martin Luther King. Our students are already working on and putting together their showcase, which is in June. And so that'll be a huge thing that we do. We do that every year. And if we can participate with any of our community partners, we do those kinds of things as well. We'll be singing at the Pacers game December 1st. I mean, we look at ways that we can serve our community. I think that it's important that you let children see why it's so important to give back. We go to nursing homes and we visit nursing homes and sing at nursing homes. We've done things for Ridle Hospital, Children's Hospital. Children need to know that everything is not always directed and pointed at them. They need to know what it feels like to give back, to participate, to bring a smile to someone's face, who may not have, who may have felt a little bit of a lull. But music does that. Performing arts does that. And it usually gets, folks kind of moving and grooving and humming along with you. So we do things like that throughout the year. Our goal in the first performance, the Nutcracker, we start that. Our season starts in August. Okay. So it's really pretty quick. I mean, we've already done so many performances already at the beginning of the year. And so it was a pretty wild beginning of the year. But our goal is to show the parents how their children go from one stage of the game and how they progress and how they grow. So by the time they get to the showcase, parents are going, what? Who is this child? This child is monumental. How did you get my child to do this? Case in point, our last showcase in June 2025, the kids decided we want to do something about 70s music. And so all the facilitators being older, we're looking around thinking, how do you know about 70s music? What do you know about 70s music? Those kids put on an amazing show. Their parents thought, I've never seen my child sing, dance, or play an instrument like this. This is phenomenal. And they see the growth. They see where they start and they see where they end up by the end of the year. And if children stay with us and stay in our program, I'm not kidding. It is phenomenal where they start to where they end up, like in grade 12. It is phenomenal.
So when can students jump in? Like, is there a certain time where like an intake?
Yeah, there is a jump in time. We generally publicize or we promote entrance twice a year. Okay. So we'll start talking about that in July, and we have an audition because we just want to see where you are. It's skill based. We just want to know where your skill level is. Are you a beginner, intermediate, or are you advanced? It is not to cancel you or to say you can't become a part. And then the second time is in January. So we allow admission again in January. The auditions are in December. Okay. So you'll get a chance to audition. If they follow our website or if they reach out to us and ask us to put their names on our newsletter, we'll send information out to them so they'll know what is happening at the Performing Arts Conservatory. But you can always reach out to us, via our website, our information, email, or just call us. The phone number is right there on the website.
We've got some video that is playing of the different performances season, you've got a large group. This isn't just a couple of kids here, a couple students. This is a large.
Well, that particular performance.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that performance. We were doing a side by side with the Indianapolis Philharmonic.
Mm-hmm.
It is tremendous when kids get a chance to see adults perform alongside adults.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, to watch how the adults respect the children. I don't know. It has never been one of the situations where adults are looking down on the kids or making the kids feel like as if they don't belong or they're not doing something right. They really come alongside to help support the kids, to help the kids grow and to be stronger. So that particular video, that was us coming together with another community partner so that the kids could feel what it feels like to do something really big and really large, or on a larger scale, So pretty much like what we did when we went to last year, we went to Carnegie Hall. So our kids have had an opportunity to feel that bigger stage at different times and different opportunities. And we think that that's good to give kids those opportunities.
So you're literally, you just alluded to, you guys have gone on some trips.
Oh, yeah. We've gone on some trips.
You've been around.
Yeah. And they love when we go to Kings Island. They love to perform at Kings Island because there's so much that goes with that, all the great performance work that goes into it. And the folks just walking by and then come, stop and, kind of bebop into whatever they're singing. And then they know that the second half of the day, they get to ride and just have a bunch of fun. So they always love doing things like that as well. So,
what's the age group?
Everyone always asks the age group, and I go, I don't know age group, but it's grades 6 through 12. So that age sometimes is 11, 12, and then it goes as high as usually about 17, 18. I've never seen a child in the 12th grade past 18 in our group. So right around that age group.
Well, I'm looking at we can see you got a wide variety though. I mean, sixth grade through 12th grade, that's a good mix there.
It's interesting watching the older kids helping the younger kids. And I mean, Cameron, isn't that what you want? You want to be able to teach people how to support one another and how to help one another, not put someone else down. You want that sense of belonging. And so that's the type of community and culture we do our very best to cultivate. I'm not saying we don't, something doesn't happen every now and then because we're not perfect. You and I have talked about that before, but we like to establish that culture that, hey, we're here to support you and we're going to help you do and be your very best. So it's always fun to watch the older children really help the younger children. And we'll see them sometimes they'll take them off to the side to help them with notes or to help them with a dance step. And then eventually you just see these younger children growing up and then they take on that same, persona. They begin to do the same thing. And what's that? Passing it forward. And they help their teammates.
So let's talk about the show coming up on November 22nd. We say the Nutcracker, but as you've explained, it's the Nutcracker story.
It's the Nutcracker
and there's
story.
a difference.
There is a big difference. First of all, the music that is played, Cameron, it is amazing. It is crazy wild, and our adults love the jazz-infused music. They perform music from Duke Ellington and Billy Strayhorn. So that already gives the whole performance a different feel, just the music alone. And then the story is written by our students. We started the writing process in, I think it was June, July of last year, because it was right after the showcase. And they began the writing process so they would have the script ready for the start of the season. And they talk about all these different places where they want to go. And someone's trying to explain, well, what is the Nutcracker? Does anyone understand the Nutcracker? Do you know who the Nutcracker is? What does the Nutcracker do? Can Pawpaw help us understand that? Yeah, because when they threw Pawpaw in the story this year, I thought, where did Pawpaw come from? So that's always fun hearing their interpretation, how they feel about the Nutcracker.
So they're, again, not only performing, they're writing this.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
And how much guidance or free, what does that look like? Is there, you can't just make up stuff, or do they just make up stuff and hey, this is the show?
Well, here's what's interesting. Yes, they do receive guidance from the adults that are a part of it, our drama facilitator and our artistic director. it was weird how they did it this season. What they decided to do was the kids all said, can we just break this down into pieces so that we can figure out how to put this together? So once again, we talk about, what does the performing arts do? What skills does it build? Problem solving, the scaffolding, how they were able to say, let's break this into pieces and we're going to create a storyboard. So that's what we called it because they didn't know that term. So now they know a new term. They hadn't heard a storyboard, but that's what they were doing. So we created these scenes, storyboards of what we were going to tell in that time period. They split up some of those scenes, and some of the kids, they took different scenes and they began to write about what that scene felt like. Then we pulled all of that together to see how well does it fit? Are there things that needs to be adjusted? Do we need to make some changes here or there? And there were some changes and some things that happen, as we move along. The only thing that we ever ask our kids to do, we say it's important that you don't put someone else down. There's no bullying that occurs in the performance. Of course, there's no cuss words. We don't allow that. We like to make sure that everything is uplifted and positive. And and we just ask them to use their imagination and to have fun. Above all, have fun,
So this shows November 22nd at 2:00. That's on a Saturday. It's only one show, right?
There's only one show. That's right.
So
That's
you
right.
got to make sure that you're there for that. Once the show is over, you're going to continue with programming throughout the year. But then next year is going to be different because you guys are moving this from just being an enrichment program, something additional that kids can do in addition to going to school, to actually having your own school, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have been, over the years, we've been working in this program space of the enrichment program space this is our 13th year. We just are going into our 13th year.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. We're glad we made it through the pandemic. Let me tell you that.
Well, I was seeing some video with them with masks on, so I was like, I know where that's from.
Absolutely. And you know what? We thought it's important to share that because that's a part of our history and that's a part of what we all went through and how did we, get through that. And so during all of those years, though, we have found ourselves in spaces where we're partnering with parents, helping parents to understand perhaps maybe some language that they didn't understand within their own school body. Now, please understand, schools are all doing the very best that they can. And I think if everyone understood that and could see some of the things even that we've seen in the buildings, you can see how they're working to do the very best job that they can. There's a lot of kids in some of those really large schools. And sometimes parents don't always get all of their questions answered. And thank God we just happen to have a bank of educators that we work with or that are a part of our team so that we can help to answer those questions or at least point them in the right direction. Now, I will say sometimes we've had to go to the schools with the parents to help, in certain situations because we want to make sure these kids graduate. And thank God we're still at 100% graduation rate. No kid has dropped out under our watch or been held back. So that's been a blessing. But it has not gone without support and putting yourself out there. We thought we were just going to be making music, but it's become so much more over these years. And it really has become supporting the parents and supporting the youth and our community. How can we help these kids get to the next step? So it just evolved over time in knowing this is what we were set up to do. We've always thought, man, it would be nice to have a school one day, but I will say within the last 3 years, we put a lot of intense effort into that process. It started with just interviewing parents, just finding out, what are you looking for? What do you want? What do you love about your school system now? What are you looking for that you're not getting? So we had to go through some process of just interviewing and surveying, to see what was going on, even to see if this idea fits.
Right, see what the need is.
Because it may not be, some folks may say, I don't need that.
And to be clear, this is going to be a full school, a private school, a performing arts school.
Yeah, full school, private school with all subject matters that the state of Indiana requires. So there will be English, math, social studies, science, PE, healthcare. Now it's called design, which is the IT, because now that is a requirement. Art. Now that's a little different in what our requirements are for graduation, but that is a part of our program. We believe that we need to have all these subject matters, and we want these subject matters to be equal on an equal footing because we believe they're all important. You think about some kids that may not have the arts in or offered to them, it really doesn't make for a holistic person. And you want people that are whole, that grow and that thrive. They need to learn about all of these things. So we have been over the years, we have been looking at different curriculums. We've gone in and done some research. I would say probably about 7 years ago, where we went through a lot of training through the IB program and several others just to look at different curriculums. And we chose a couple of years ago to continue with the IB program. So it will be rigorous. We know that, but we know that our kids can rise to the occasion. We practice the TESSA model, teacher expectation, student achievement, and we know that can be done because we've seen it with just these kids in the enrichment program. These kids last year, they came back from Carnegie Hall, and then they came here, learned and sang Latin. I'm looking at the artistic director like, are you kidding me? How are these kids going? He said, watch. They will rise to the occasion, and loved it. They had never performed an opera before, but fell in love with opera music. So again, exposure and exposing our youth to all different kind of opportunities. Because here's the deal, Cameron, we don't know what they're going to do with their lives, but if they're never exposed, they may never know either. So you just give them the exposure, and they will choose and they will gravitate to wherever God is leading them, to be at some point as an adult. So yeah, we knew this is the right time. We kept doing, like I said, all the research, all of the things that we needed to do. And last year, I applied for a program that I discovered through a conference I was taking. And the young lady that was next to me, I just started explaining my heart and telling her about what we wanted to do and our next step. And she said, oh, here's a card. You need to apply for the Drexel Fund. And I'm going, who? What are you talking about? Now I have to do more research to find out who is and what is the Drexel Fund. I applied. Or at least I put in my first registration to go to their info session because I want to know more about this organization. And they're looking for innovative faith-based schools. And I'm like, that aligns with us. That's who we are. Go through their whole interview process from August all the way to February the next year. It was intense. I'm not going to lie about that. But out of 74 folks that inquired, 4 of us were selected as fellows. And so now here I am today, not only with the research that we've done, with the work that we've done in our community, but now I also have this partner that is helping to shape our vision and making sure that we're a successful school. I think, Cameron, for us, we've seen so many different things happen, in our community with schools. And you really need to make sure, do I have a good footing? Have I planted the foundation well? Am I doing the right things? And this partner comes alongside to test all of those areas and make sure that we know what to do as it relates to funding, fundraising. What does it do for academics? They're all about academics and strengthening academics because, of course, that's the business we're in. And then human resources and legal work and accounting. And so they come alongside to make sure, do you have everything in place? Are you doing what you need to do? And they hold us accountable.
Now, Bridget, there's a lot of schools in Indianapolis.
I know.
And you're adding another one.
I know.
And it's competitive out there.
I know.
How are you guys planning to, are there any other, what's the landscape of schools offering performing arts or performing arts school in the Indianapolis area? And how do you plan to make your mark?
That's a good question because, first of all, we don't have per se a performing arts school in Indiana. However, there are a lot of schools with performing arts, either programs or they're doing something in the performing arts. I think the biggest thing that kind of sets us apart or is our differentiator, number one, is our climate and is our culture. How we approach everything that we do within the Performing Arts Conservatory. and then just being who we are and the work that we bring to the performances. I mentioned yesterday I was being interviewed by someone, and I talked about how the being African American, how we wanted to really bring that to life last year. And so we invited our youth to learn about and to inquire about who were some of the greatest African American, not only artists, but just individuals that have helped to really paint the picture that we see today in America. We were quite, I don't want to say alarmed, but it just shook us a little bit that the kids didn't know these people. And we're thinking, now wait, we need to make sure that you're open-minded, that you understand and you know about other cultures and how America was formed and what that means. Of course, after that went through and the kids performed actually with the Indianapolis Philharmonic, and at that time their conductor had them do a piece from Florence Price, who was a great African American female composer. The kids started, digging into this and were not only quite surprised, but excited to see, wow, somebody who looks like me. Look at what we're doing. Look at what we're achieving. Look at what we're accomplishing. So it ended up being a whole video link that month instead of just posting pictures on our Facebook page. We had the kids talk about different composers, dancers, artists, performing artists that they had discovered and they did research on. And those kids, they were able to post and explain and talk about them. That's not always something that you can do in your school systems. It's a little different than how we approach things in the Performing Arts Conservatory. So having a school where the performing arts is the driver, but yet you have to do all the things. You still need to know how to spell. You need to know how to read. You need to know how to do everything. Of course, finance is going to be a part of our program as well. And reading is going to be a part of our program, because one of the things we know, every educator, they will tell you, they stopped teaching reading at grade 3. Well, guess what? I have a couple of kids that I'm still working with. And last year, there was a kid was in the 11th grade, still not reading well. That's, I don't want to use the word atrocity, but it is. Why is this happening? So we have to figure out ways to be able to build and strengthen that skill. So reading will still be very paramount in our program. So there's going to be some differences in what we offer and the way in which we move. Yes, it's going to be rigorous, but again, I said the children will be able to rise to the occasion. Do you have a location yet? We do. It's 71st and Shaylin. It's Shaylin Station. Okay. We are on the campus of Castleton United Methodist. They have a ministries building, and we're located in that ministries building. Okay. This will a private school, so you need it'll be tuition to go there. There'll be some tuition, yes, sir. Well, explain that process to people and how it's different from a charter school or a public charter, or a public school, I should say. Yeah, public school, charter schools, they're public schools. Your tax dollars, of course, pay for the child to go into those buildings. In our state, we now have what is called school choice, and our school choice funding has provided a way for parents to make some choices, to make some decisions, to say, oh man, my child would thrive, or my child would really connect from an educational perspective if they were able to go to a school where the attention was a little different, where maybe the class sizes were a little smaller, where they could really get a little more personalized attention. I need them in a smaller school environment or an environment like that. What our state has said is, we're going to give you those options to make choices, parents. And so now with school choice, parents will be able to do that. And there's no income guidelines effective 2026. So parents can really, look at the lay of the land, go visit schools and make some decisions. And it would be my hope that parents are really paying attention to their child and how their child, how their child gains new knowledge and new experiences. We went through that, Cameron. My husband and I, our daughter, We sent her to public school. We sent her to private school. We've done all of those things, and we just found where she thrived, where she really was able to learn and to grasp what she needed to be a valuable adult. She's now 28 years old, and we went through some things. Trust me, I'm not going to go through the whole. I'm not going to sit on the Oprah Winfrey couch and go through the whole story. But today, she's a young lady who even. And I'm not going to tell you what school system this happened in, but a teacher who said, well, she's just not math smart. And when my child said to me in the second grade, it's okay, mommy, if I don't know this, I'm just not math smart. I'm thinking, first of all, where did you learn that language? Because that's not a second grade language to say I'm not math smart. And we were in a public school at that time. Needless to say, Cameron, you probably can tell I'm a doer. And I said, listen, this child will not be handled in a way where she's diminished or where she thinks she cannot accomplish because a teacher feels you've reached the level that I believe that you can reach. Now, please understand me. That can happen in any school. That can happen at a charter, public, private. That can happen anywhere. And we are definitely looking for teachers and educators that believe every child can learn and have. I told you, I said we believe in TESSA. We're teacher expectation, student achievement. So that's how we want you to come into our room when we start hiring, our educators. But my child today, she graduated Ball State University, graduated a magna cum laude with a math concentration.
Oh, really?
My child went on, our child, I didn't do it by myself. It was my husband and I and our community and other educators that we found to come alongside and help our child thrive. Then she went back to school, and I don't even know she was doing it, but she comes out with 2 master's degrees. I said, what are you doing? And now she's thriving in public relations and doing a great job and still giving back and still helping other children learn and grow in math.
But literally has a degree in math because
math concentration.
I am not math smart.
When she was doing advanced AP calculus, I'm not kidding, Cameron. At one point, I looked at my husband and he looked at me and he said, I thought you were doing math. He said, what is this essay paper you're writing? Because, one problem can go that long. But the idea around this is parents, any of us are asking, know your child, know where you believe your child will thrive best. What type of education does your child need? And in this state, we're saying now you have options and you can look and you can move your child to those places that you think, wow, I've wanted to put my child here, but I couldn't before. And now I can because of what we have with our school choice.
Yeah, we've got school choice and vouchers. And so while there's a tuition, there's money. That
majority of that money will go towards the tuition. It will be very minimal as far as what they'll be paying either out of pocket or through other scholarships because we are working on that too. Like I told you, the partner that I'm working with Drexel, I'm learning how to do fundraising now. And so you've got to start doing that so that we can make sure that every child has the opportunity to be educated. I don't care what side of the track you come from. We have in the past, and we will continue working with all children.
So you're opening this school in fall of 2026.
Fall 2026.
What will that opening year look like as far as which students you will be welcoming in?
Yeah, starting with grades 6 and 7. We will start with a summer program. We've always had a summer camp. This year, our summer camp will be a little different because in the summer camp, we will do some diagnostic assessments to see where is the child? What has the child been doing prior to? Now, it's interesting that I said this year is going to be different because, you know what, we've always done that. Even when we're working with our drama facilitators, we start with a lot of where are they from a reading perspective? How are they with their language and their language skills and even having them writing, and we usually get some laptop computers and we have them doing some research, just observing to see what the child can do and how we need to work with the child. Well, that's basically what's going to happen again this summer. The only difference is those parents that then want to move their child into the school, we know right off what we need to do and how we need to support that parent from an educational perspective.
Well, you also will have the additional task of, you kind of already mentioned it, but hiring teachers.
Oh, yes. That starts next year. That'll be starting in March of next year, March 2026.
What will that process look like as far as what teachers are you looking for? What are the qualifications does the teacher need? What are you looking for in a teacher?
It's interesting because I'm always, at least my team says to me, you're always interviewing. Bridget, you are always looking at individuals, talking to them, inviting them in to volunteer so you can really see how they work. But I would say I'm laughing because I literally just did this exercise because I came back from a workshop with the Drexel Foundation. And one of the things they said, list your top 10 characteristics that you need out of a teacher. And then she made us narrow it down to our top 3 and then talk through that. And it was interesting for me to see what my top 3 characteristics were, because even as a school is a startup. Even though we've been in an enrichment program for all these years, school, that's different. That's not the same thing that we've been doing, focusing on just the performing arts and all those 4 disciplines. Now we're focused on the education of your child. So I list my top 3. It said child-focused educator. And let me explain that. What's important to me is I want to make sure that we don't have educators that just like to lecture and the teacher is the primary focus of the room. I need you to understand, what is the child? What are they learning? What don't they understand? How can I best help and support that child? The child should be the center of this room and this educational process, not the center of the room to be disruptive and to be undisciplined, but from an educational perspective, what do I need to do to help this child thrive? Number 2, flexibility. I need people that are flexible, that can ebb and flow, bend and move, because everyone knows, particularly in a startup, but I'm going to tell you right now, in the business that I'm in and when you're working with youth, anything could happen. And we don't need someone on the team that says, oh, I don't do that, though. I mean, I've had to go in the bathroom to help children if they were sick or something. And you know what I'm saying? It's
especially you're going to have a smaller team.
I had to get mops and things. I mean, you have to do whatever you have to do. And it's not in my job description. It's not in my job description. But come on. We all got to hop in there.
You need somebody who understands that, hey, we are a startup.
Absolutely. And that's not, everybody can't live in that environment because that environment doesn't always look smooth sailing. It gets there, but it doesn't always look smooth sailing from the beginning. And then the last that I selected was Christ-centered.
Okay.
I said, I need people that, not someone that comes here with a denomination background. I'm not interested in that. I'm not so interested if you're Baptist, Methodist, I don't need that. What I need is for you to have the mind of Christ in his heart, because that goes beyond all denominations. Just love. I need you to be caring. I think I told you earlier, I said, let's just start with the fruit of the Spirit. Let's just start there. And I think if you do that, if you love God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself, man, that's a great place to start, because you're going to show kindness. You're going to show long suffering. You're going to have some patience with people. Guess what? You're going to have some self-control. You can't just act and say anything and just wild out. No, you don't get to do that. Not if we're going to not if we're going to be Christ-centered.
Mhm.
And we say that that's who we are. We are an inquiry-based, Christ-centered, affordable school. And so I need you to have that. I don't want, and you've probably experienced it. I know you have. I've heard callers call in some of your shows, and they're browbeating you, with the word, no. I just need you.
Mhm.
I just need you to live it.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
need you to show that you care. One of the things is not one of the things, they say a lot of different things to us, but our kids often have said, and they still say, they see me.
Mhm.
Mom, no, they really want to know what I have to say. They'll say they care about me. And in some ways, Cameron, I think to myself, well, like, what do we do?
Mhm.
Why? I mean, we're just running the program. We're just doing what we do naturally. But really what they're saying is that Maya Angelou saying that she said, people may not care what you say, they may not care what you do, but they always care how you make them feel. And that's what we've gleaned in the culture that we've developed. We want that same culture to go into our school and into our building while we're functioning as a school.
So while you are functioning as a school, that's coming up, but you have staff members or volunteers already, right?
Staff and volunteers.
Staff and volunteers. Okay.
Yeah. And the folks, they work right now in the enrichment program. We have a couple that are bending over into both areas, bleeding into both areas for a while. As we start looking for the educators that we need, we'll have a hybrid program. So there will be some classes that will be online. But we already know, as I've seen the academic team plan out what the next 5 years, I know we have a 5-year model already planned out, but seeing what the 5 years looks like, that's going to bring on more educators into our building. So I can see that, and I can see that playing out, and it's going to be fun and exciting, and I think we'll make a mark within the community. I think people will see, man, my child, if I can get my child in there, that's where my child needs to go, because my child's going to grow. And that's the bottom line.
And of the 6th and 7th graders, how many
we'll probably start with a very small number. So we're not trying to pull from everybody, all 8 people. We're just trying to find these students where the parents want this type of an environment. So we'll probably start with anywhere from 30 to 50 students.
Okay.
Yeah.
Small.
Very. Okay. Yeah. That's what we want. We believe in small schools. We believe in small school education. We know that here I go again. My daughter went to a small school, and we did see her thrive, and we saw what she looked like in a larger school too, and she got lost. She got lost in the herd, as such. But again, it goes back to parents paying attention to their children and just watching what their children do and how their children grow, and then trying to offer them that opportunity.
Well, what I like about the Performing Arts Conservatory is the opportunity that it allows for the students to lead, to be at the front, to get leadership experience, because even if they don't go on to be actors or actresses.
That's right.
There are plenty of things that require you like this to be a performer.
Absolutely.
And they're getting that experience from putting a show together. And right there with you.
Here's something that's interesting. During summer camp, I always like summer camp because then kids get to hear from other individuals in our community that come in and they talk about the different things that they do that align with the performing arts, but they are not performers. So the kids get to find out, oh, wait, there are other careers that are out there. So wait, you're saying I don't have to be on stage? I might be a little gun shy to be on stage, but wait, I can do things behind the scenes. I can be a producer. I can be a music director. And then they find out about all these other careers, and I can be a promoter. I can be in the marketing portion of it. And they realize, oh my God, this industry is huge. And I don't think I knew, just all the things that were available to me in this industry. So whether you want to be a performing artist, that's great. But we've also had, now that we've been here, I told you we're going into our 13th year, so we have a few graduates now, Cameron. So we have some kids that are they're either in college or gone on to college. Now they're in their careers or they're in their master's degree programs or their doctorate programs, and what I love is that they come back and talk to us about how can they give, or talk to us about what the performing arts, meant to them, or how it helped them through a particular time, in their life. And then some of them will go on to college and they still continue performing. A parent called me this morning as I was on my way here because they went to see their daughter, who she had already contacted me, so I knew she was performing she said TSU, and just talking about what she was doing and still performing and still loving the theater, but yet her major is IT. She's majoring in something else, but she still loves performing. And how many people do we have in our community that are like that? I mean, I always talk about Dr. Yancey because that was my baby's doctor. An amazing performer, has an amazing voice. And so there are so many individuals out here that really, again, as I talked about earlier, it brings some kind of wholeness, some kind of, I don't know, just a place where you can be grounded, for yourself. That's what the performing arts does, or music, or dance, all of those kinds of things. That's what it does for you. I mean, come on, everybody loves a little entertainment.
That's right. That's right. We do indeed. So we're out of time.
I can't believe we're out of time.
I know.
Cameron, you know how to get me talking. I don't know what it is about you.
I just let you go. Like, hey, just keep telling it. It's all good. It's good. It's good to let you talk because you can see the passion in that. You aren't looking at notes or anything. This is just what you've been doing for 13 plus years, and now going into this next chapter. So, want to remind people they can find out more about you. There's the website tpacnd.org. The Nutcracker Story is happening on November 22nd. That is at 2 p.m. Tell us where it is.
It's going to be at Castleton United Methodist Church. That's located at 7101 North Shadeland in Indianapolis, Indiana, right on the corner of 71st and Shadeland. You literally cannot miss that church. It's a huge building.
All right. Bridget Townsend, thank you so much for coming on and telling us about what you guys are doing.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. That's going to do it for this edition of Fox 59 Tonight. I'm Cameron Riddle. Thank you for joining us. We'll have more conversations like this every night at 8 o'clock here on Fox 59 Now, and on Sundays on the radio. Join me for my talk show, Open Lines, on Hot 100.9 and 106.7 WTLC. Until we meet again on one of these shows, have a good night.